All right, time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan Lothian.
And along the lines of investigative journalism, this is a rave for the New York Times and the investigation, the spotlight that they put on this network of some 1,300 or so local news sites, digital news sites. They look very much like traditional newspapers, but in fact, they're quite different. They are, as the New York Times puts it, pay for play. And what it is whether it's politicians or conservative organizations are pumping money into creating content that is not objective. And what the organization does, this network, is they find these freelance writers, some of them overseas, making as little as $3 per article to pump out this information. There are some on the left as well, but this one happens to be one of the biggest networks. It's run by a former TV journalist called Brian Timpone. He has become an entrepreneur and is apparently finding some success in filling this void in these markets where newspapers have gone away. The one thing we can say is that apparently there's no false information being put out by these.
It's opinion. Yeah, there's some in Massachusetts too. All right, Joanna.
So I have a rant about Quiddy, which was the highly touted, highly promoted platform for short-form video content. It had a Hollywood patina. It was created by Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. It launched to great fanfare 6 months ago, and now 6 months later, it is gone. It was a quick rise, and there were some real fundamental problems with the launch and with the whole conception. First of all, it seems like they completely overestimated the market for this. They also launched right at the start of a pandemic when people had other things to think about than whether they were going to find another closed, walled-off platform of short-form video. And there was apparently no real sharing function, so that it was a walled-off environment where they had trouble. We were just talking about how you have to promote your work. They weren't doing a great job of promoting it. So, again, Katzenberg and Whitman have gotten some praise for being transparent about their loss, but they really should have put some more thinking into the front end, and I'm sorry that people's jobs are lost because of it.
Kudos for you for even explaining it, because I never got it. I never understood the concept. All right, Pina.
I want to rave about Juliet Alperin and company's story in the Washington Post this week on La Crosse, Wisconsin, which basically was an experiment in what some in the Trump administration and some in Boris Johnson's administration in the UK have been calling the herd immunity strategy, which is to say, let the young people party, go to bars, go to restaurants, keep things open, let people be exposed to COVID-19, and let's see what happens. Well, the story that this Post team tells in La Crosse, Wisconsin, really brings it home in a very specific way, telling the story of what happened when campuses reopened, when bars started getting crowded by college students, and how that led to, through genetic sequencing, they were able to track this, an increase in nursing home deaths and a spike in COVID cases in the community. So just really a community-grounded story that helps make sense of this abstract policy debate that's happening about the pandemic.
All right, great. Dan Kennedy.
I have a rave for Attorney General William Barr. And the reason I'm raving Barr is that he obviously would have had to sign off at some point on the Department of Justice's antitrust case against Google. Google has been taken to court. This is a big case that may play out over a period of years. One of the arguments they're making is that if you're so good at search, why do you pay companies like Apple to give you a privileged position on their devices? You should be able to compete on your own. And, of course, the news business has been unhappy with Google for many years. Who knows? It's hard to know where this is going to go, but maybe at some point the news business is going to be able to get some money out of Google as a result of this lawsuit.
All right, thanks, Dan. All right, well, tonight I have a really wide net spread here of a rant for the news media in general about their over-reliance on the so-called undecided voter. There are no undecided voters. There are people who are underinformed. There are people who aren't paying any attention. There are people who don't even remember who they voted for last time around. But nobody's undecided. And this idea of bringing people into a room and suggesting that they're undecided is frankly a gimmick and a ploy. Take a look at just even one of these.
I don't like his going off on Twitter so often, but I'm not a big Vice President Biden supporter or fan either.
I'm definitely going to vote. Absolutely, 100%. I guess I just keep waiting for something from either candidate to just be enough to sway me one way or the other.
She's not paying attention, because if she doesn't know what's going to swing her one way or another, she's not an undecided voter, as I said. She's somebody who's not paying attention, who's just, out of it, as are a lot of these. We got to get a different gimmick for this. It's not certainly not working for me.